Hey guys, and welcome back to an episode of Cultured Boys, a show where two guys just want to have a chat. As always, I'm joined by Pepe, and this week we're doing something a little different. How you doing, Pep? Before I get into the bones of the episode.
I'm doing well, man. Yeah, just not much too different going on. But yeah, I'm all good, man. Are you well?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Sweet.
So now that that's over, I guess. So this week we wanted to do some sort of top five discussion, and turns out to make a list of top five games that sort of everybody agrees with, bit difficult. So we went and found this Business Insider article that uh, aggregated the top 50 games from Metacritic, and they took out all the duplicates and stuff because turns out Metacritic's got loads of those. And we're just going to discuss the top five because 50 is a bit much.
Yeah. So like it's just one of those ones. Like obviously, yeah, as you said, Nate, it's we like to discuss quite a bit as well. We waffle on quite a bit. So yeah, cutting down to top five, like they're all games that we know as well. So it'd
Yes,
be it'd be good.
that's also a good point.
Yeah. Because like I don't know, like I feel like both of us like know games, but whether we've played them or not is a completely different discussion. So like with these top five, like we can go into discuss, do we agree with this? Do we agree with Business Insider? Whether these are actually the top five
Well, it's
games?
not even like, do we agree with Business Insider? Because they just like made the thing in it. It's like,
Do
do
we
we
agree
agree
with
with
the world?
Metacritic?
Do
Yeah,
we
like,
agree?
do we agree with the world's apparent ranking of the top five games of all time?
Yeah. Well, should we just jump into it then?
Yeah,
We
should we
go
start from number five?
number five. So number five of the top 50 games is Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, it was a really good game.
Yeah.
But I can't remember when this article was written, but I would say a Mario game deserves to be up there, but
Mhm.
Galaxy, I don't know. I think I preferred Odyssey.
Yeah, I'd say there's certain ones like Mario 64, for example, is stands out to me more than Galaxy. But bear in mind, this is Metacritic as well, so like people would
True.
have to go back further to rate Mario 64 a little bit higher. But like I feel like Odyssey placed like somewhere in the
Yeah, I was
top.
gonna say I think both of them did appear on the list, but much further down.
Yeah, yeah. Like I believe it was in top 10. Give me a second.
Yeah, something like that. But again, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Galaxy. I really, really did. It is one of my favorites. But personally, I would have put Odyssey higher, and personally, I think I would have put Sunshine higher. Even though
Ooh,
Sunshine
okay.
is arse in terms of
Yeah.
control, right? The camera is
Yeah.
arse. I'm not gonna downplay it, right? The controls aren't the best, but the game feel is amazing for Sunshine. And Galaxy also had its camera issues. So I don't know. I think Odyssey was the best of all of the 3D Mario games so far, personally. But there you go.
Yeah. So Odyssey placed 14th on this list.
No, that's too far down.
I'm quite inclined to agree with you though, to be fair. I feel like Odyssey did stand out to me more than Galaxy did. I think Galaxy is a good game, as you said. Like I think I don't know, like I love Sunshine, but I feel like that might be nostalgia factor for me.
Yeah, same.
Um, the reason why I'd say 64 stands out the most out of all those options is because I think it was like the first for a Mario game at its time. And I mean, that isn't really a justified reason, really. Just because something's the first at its time doesn't mean it's the best. But I feel like it was done so well, and that's what I love about Mario 64. Yeah, moving on to Sunshine. Sunshine was decent. I loved Sunshine as a kid, but when 3D Collection came out, is the one that I hadn't played in the longest, and God, it was tough playing that
Again,
again.
like it for Sunshine, it's more like the game feel. The world is great. The music's great. You just love existing in that world, but to actually play the game,
Yeah,
yeah, that game's ass.
yeah,
So, I love Sunshine, but I can agree, maybe not. It doesn't deserve to be that high up in terms of
yeah.
an actual
I
game.
but yeah, I don't see Galaxy that high either. I don't think I'd put Galaxy Sunshine I can sort of give way to Odyssey a little bit. I think I can see Odyssey in the top
Well,
5.
like
But
I was just thinking, like, do you reckon Galaxy is this high up because it was a Wii game, and let's face it, everybody had a Wii.
it's
You know what
true,
I
yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe that's why it's rated so high. Because like a lot of the Mario games is like, depending on when they came out, depending on the console it was on, not as many people would have had it. So I'm wondering if because Galaxy was on the Wii and everyone had one, that's why it's rated so high. And again, it was a really good game. It's just I don't know. Maybe that install base was how it got that high up. Like that kind of bias. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, what would you say like the best Wii game was?
The
Like,
best Wii
because
game.
obviously, like when you look at this, obviously we say Galaxy's that high because it was on the Wii, kind of. Like, although yeah, it was like one of the like consoles better games, but I mean, I feel like I'm talking to the guy that's gonna say Wii Sports here.
I
He's like-
literally was about to say that.
I was like, I just realized, like, hold on a second, yeah, I know exactly what Nathan's best, and honestly, like, as simplistic as it is, I can see it being like in the top 20, I'd say.
Yeah, like I'm actually kind of thinking about it. Why isn't Wii Sports there at
It's
5?
because it's so simplistic. It's literally just the concept of tennis and bowling
Yeah, I know, but
and
like, okay, it was packaged in with a console, right? So you
yeah,
kind of can't be like, that would definitely be much worse if it was higher up. But at the same time, you tell me a person who didn't like Wii Sports.
nah, it's true. It's true.
That game, universally loved, even though it's simple and was packaged in with a console. Universally loved. You tell me something that is as equally loved.
Yeah, it showed off the Wii's like capabilities, like straight off the bat. Like it was like literally like, hey, here's what the Wii has to offer, like in this thing.
Also, it
And
didn't matter what other games you had on the Wii. When people came over, you always put in Wii Sports. You always ended up on Wii Sports. It didn't matter what you had or what you wanted to play. It was always Wii Sports because everyone can play a bit of bowling, a bit of tennis, baseball if you're inclined to, golf if you're inclined to, like it hit all the markers.
yeah, but yeah, okay. We kind of turned that into a little bit of a Wii Sports conversation there, but
Well, I mean, like it's
it's
part
true.
of the discussion, isn't it? Like, do
Yeah,
we
yeah.
agree that Super Mario Galaxy is number 5? I don't,
I don't
technically.
know. I don't agree it's number 5. No, I think it's quite a big one to put up there. But yeah, that's the nature of the discussion. Do we agree with it? And but answer for both of us is no, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Um,
But the
yeah.
next one is even more interesting because I would never have done this. So number 4 is the original Soul Calibur.
Like this really caught me off guard. Like
Yeah.
one, how high a Soul Calibur game is for one.
And not just any of them, the first
The
one as
first one out
well.
of all of them, like the first Soul Calibur. Like I I've played the first Soul Calibur. Granted, it was after I've played like 2, 3, and 4 because I got it. I started the series with 2 on the GameCube, but like number 1, really.
Yeah, it's like, and it's a top 50 list, but number 4?
Yeah,
I could think of many of the games, probably also further down in the list, that should have been number 4 in my opinion.
yeah.
I'm not trying to downplay Soul Calibur. It's a good series, don't get me wrong. But number 4 out of 50 of all time? I don't know.
It's like like it's not. It's the best. Like, there's so much to comprehend here because it just comes out of nowhere. Like when you think of fighting games as well, people think Street Fighter, people think Tekken. They
Yeah,
don't think of Soul Calibur straight away.
if you think
Um,
of Soul Calibur at all.
yeah, exactly. It's one of the ones that like kind of like gets put like Tekken overshadows it massively.
Yeah, I mean, well, like, to me, Soul Calibur is in the same sort of like thought range as like King of Fighters, Virtua Fighter, like
It's those secondary fighters, isn't it?
those
Yeah,
other like fighting games that exist and you sort of know of, but you're like, well, it's not the big two.
yeah, exactly. And like no discredit to Soul Calibur whatsoever. To be honest, I still think it's a great fighting game. Like I've loved like loads of iterations of the series. But like, it just catches me off guard that it's this high. Do I believe that Soul Calibur in the general world of gaming is top 5 material? No, personally, I don't.
Well, like, you know when it's sad because you think even if you change the context, like, oh, what if it was a fighting game list? I'm like, I still don't think it would be top 5.
It's a hard one. Like me personally, if I'm giving my personal opinion here, like I would give Soul Calibur 4 this spot. Like granted, like again, Soul Calibur 4 probably like one of my favorite Soul Calibur games of all time, alongside 2. Um, but like even in a top 10 list, like we've done our top
Yeah.
fives. Like we've done it's on this channel. And Soul Calibur isn't there for me.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. Is it just I don't think this goes that high in general. Like I think Soul Calibur maybe be in a top 10 for me, but that's me personally as well. In terms of the history of gaming as a wider like census, I don't think Soul Calibur would be up there.
Yeah, like out of all the games that have ever existed, I don't think Soul Calibur would even make my top
No.
20.
No, absolutely not. Not that one. But yeah, I'm curious at how it got that high. Like again, well, this is what I said earlier as well, didn't I? I said Mario 64 probably wasn't that high because obviously people would have to go back and rate it. But this disproves my argument, apparently, because Soul Calibur came out fucking years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it must have been like, what, the first one must have been like a PS2 game?
No, not even before that. It was on
What?
Dreamcast.
It was on Dreamcast. Well, no one had a Dreamcast.
That's
Kept
even more
breaking.
discreet. It's
So, like,
even like
does it mean this was the Dreamcast one or the arcade one? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like I don't know, I can't imagine they made many differences to it when they re-released some of it. Because when you look at this, when you look at this article, it says on in terms of platforms, it says Dreamcast, iOS, Arcade, Xbox 360, and Xbox One.
okay,
Um, it got a critic score of 98 out of 100 and
Jesus.
a user score of 8.6 out of 10. Bear in mind, going back to Mario Galaxy, that got a critic score of 97 out of 100 and a user score of 9 out of 10. So the user score is actually lower on lower on Soul Calibur than it is Mario Galaxy. But critics absolutely love Soul Calibur, apparently. Gave it a bloody 98.
Interesting. I mean, I couldn't tell you what I would put at number 4, but you know, we both agree not Soul
Yeah.
Calibur 1.
If I was to put if I was to put an equivalent of this, oh god, it's a tough one. Like a fighting game at number 4.
I mean, I would have thought it'd be maybe like Street Fighter 2 or
Yeah,
like Smash Bros like Melee or something, you know, something that's got
yeah,
a
Melee.
higher profile in the zeitgeist, you know, like in the
Yeah, I'd
general
say
populace.
I'm right. Yeah, I agree with you there, Nathan. Definitely Melee or Street Fighter 2 in terms of fighting games.
Because it just feels like when people talk about old fighting games, it's always like Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So second game on this top 5 that we do not agree with again.
Okay, but like, you know, this one I kind of agree with.
So number 3 is GTA 4. And obviously GTA 4's sort of made its rounds a little bit. I say that.
Well, not as much as 5.
Well, yeah, okay, 5. I was like, I said that. Yeah, it's on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. It had a critic score of 98 and a user score of 7.5, which is lower than both Soul Calibur and Mario Galaxy. But GTA, yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. I can actually see this on there because, like, although I was kind of late to the GTA 4 train compared to you and a couple of our other friends,
We still played that all the time. I
all the
believe we
time,
have
yeah.
mentioned it before on previous episodes,
We
but
might, yeah, it might not have gone into too much detail about it. But,
no, but like Pepe and I agree on this at least because our friendship group spent almost every day for 2 years straight playing
mhm,
this game.
yeah.
So to say that we agree is a bit obvious now that I've given that context.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like looking at this, like GTA was going to appear in a top 5
Oh
list on
yeah,
any.
like any of them could have easily
Yeah.
appeared.
And it's like it's a massive game, like a console seller, if anything. Like, say if GTA came on the PS5 right now, the new one, not GTA 5. Like if GTA 6 got on the PS5 right now,
Oh
I
yeah, they'd
think
sell gangbusters unless
they want to
people
again.
decided to review bomb it like crazy.
Yeah, like supply and demand. Like people would be. I think the demand for a PS5 would increase even more than it actually already is. Because are we still going through a PS5 drought right now? Is it still impossible to get a hold of one? I feel like it is at this
Yeah,
point.
but I mean, that's kind of the same for anything. There's a
Yeah,
sort of drought for everything because again, it doesn't come down to each manufacturer being like, oh, we're just making certain amount. It's still the silicon shortage, the
yeah.
semiconductor shortage has been a problem, and solutions aren't coming up until at the earliest end of this year.
It's ridiculous. This is still a problem, but fair. But yeah. Anyway, GTA 100%.
Yeah,
I can see one popping up. Do you agree that number 4 deserves a spot? Do you? Because when I talk to people about GTA, I'd say 5 comes up quite a lot because again, it's most recent iteration and people love it. It's been on almost every console at this point, minus Nintendo ones. If obviously, like, we've got San Andreas as well. Some people love Vice
yeah.
City. Like, do you agree with that number 4?
I Okay. In that context, do I agree? GTA 4?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. I feel like a different GTA would have taken the third spot.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think I would have thought most people would pick 5 or San Andreas
Yeah, those are the ones I would have thought. Like,
because those ones seem to be the ones that people talk about the most. The next closest would probably be Vice City and then 3.
I
But
mean, GTA 4 was massive when it came out.
yeah, but because it was so different, like the controls sort of changed quite
Yeah,
drastically from the third one and from like Vice City and San Andreas that people didn't quite enjoy 4 as much. Plus the
yeah,
graphics were kind of, you remember it had that weird sort of like motion blurry on it on everything.
yeah,
It was that sort of weird like faded, it looked strange and it controlled different enough that you were like, I don't really like this. But I still like the game. I still
I
have massive nostalgia for it, so yeah, I'm fine with GTA 4 being number 3.
yeah, I agree with you. I feel like for me, like, as someone who like again, as I said, I'm quite late to the GTA 4 train when it came out. GTA 4 is actually my first GTA game. I've played them around people's houses before, but like, I've never really like got into any others really apart from 5. And, oh yeah, I've played, like, what was it, San Andreas, where like people put the cheats on and stuff, and like it's all
Yeah.
jokes like that. But like, yeah, as someone who's only played a couple GTA games, I feel like 4 is probably a more appropriate one to be there. I feel people have their issues with 5. But again, I don't think they're that glaring enough to send it be like, oh yeah, GTA 4 definitely deserves to be here more than 5. I put them on the same level basically. It's the first one to have online, if I'm correct.
GTA 4 was the first one with online.
Yeah. So yeah, so I feel it kind of, yeah, that was the sort of intro to that sort of, that probably bigged up a little bit more as well. People love the story from GTA 4 as well.
Yeah.
Like, as someone that plays GTA for the multiplayer rather than the story, I
I
mean,
finished that campaign several times. It was pretty
yeah,
good.
I've heard good things about it, and obviously like you got the DLC things as well. Like,
I mean, the DLCs just made the game even better. So, like, yeah.
okay, number 3 on this list, I think we can both say agree. I think
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, sweet. Okay then, on to number 2 then.
Okay, so number 2 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Interesting choice here.
Yeah.
Um,
I did. We've both played it, right?
yeah, again, I've never owned it. I've played it around people's
Same.
houses,
I
but
played it at a friend's house.
yeah.
But so we both played it.
Hmm. I
I don't know
think.
what to think about this. I personally I don't agree.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it depends on what kind of gamer you are at this point, because like I have played this, I can see the appeal to it, and it's one of those games you can, like, again, because we've both played it around people's houses. One of those games where you just Like, go around someone's house, you play it for like, oh, what games you got? Oh, I got Tony Hawk's, and it's like, oh yeah, let's play that for a little bit, and you, I don't know, get some snacks, play some Tony Hawk, and then I don't know, do something else. Like, it's
The,
that kind of vibe more.
yeah, but the thing is, I'm thinking about it, right? And when it was out, you
Yeah,
have to admit it was the biggest game and it was talked about. So in
yeah,
terms of the time period and the context, I can see why it's number two. I can completely see it. It was the biggest game
it
because
is
the first one
huge.
did gangbusters, and then the second one, everybody was just like down
Yeah.
completely.
It established that, yeah. Established with the first, and yeah, as you said, everyone knows it by the second one. That's when everyone's gonna pick it up, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, if you talk about that franchise, pretty much it's only ever like two or three that people really care about.
Yeah, I heard about three. That was a big one.
I played the third one as well, again at a friend's house.
But yeah, this got a critic score of 98 out of 100, a user score of 7.4 out of 10. And in terms of platforms, it was on PlayStation, PC, Game Boy Color, Dreamcast, Mac, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, iOS, and Xbox. So far in this top five, the one that covers a lot as well. So it's that could have contributed to this, to be fair, because obviously Business Insider have like included like doubled up on some of this stuff,
Yeah.
and like and obviously this covers a whole range of different platforms. Granted, I feel like you'd have a better experience on I don't know, the PlayStation, Dreamcast, Nintendo 64 over a Game Boy Color, for example.
What are you talking about? That was the best console.
I mean, like, I mean, I love the Game Boy Color, but is it realistically the best thing to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on? I don't know. I've never played it on that. I might be, in my words, people might absolutely love the Game Boy Color version of it, and maybe that's what boosted up this high.
I'm
But
not gonna lie, I think I might have played the Game Boy Color version as well. Weirdly, I have a memory of playing one of them on Game Boy Color.
yeah. I mean, do you remember much of it? Is it worth? Is it the thing that put it up to number two on the top five?
I mean, not for me personally. I remember it being the more difficult version to play, but
Yeah,
again, I've already said it. I don't personally agree with it, but that's probably also because, like Pepe said, we both played it around a friend's house, and it's just something you put on for maybe a half hour, get your butt kicked by your friend who owns the game,
yeah,
and then you go and play something else.
yeah. I mean, I'm just like reading over like some of the stuff in it. Like, build your own custom skate park in real 3D park editor. That's
I
quite
mean,
a
like,
big deal. Like, for
yeah,
what
it is for back
for
in
a
the
game
day.
that early. Yeah.
But at the same time, like personally, I never do that kind of stuff. You know, it's like, oh, go
Mm.
build your own thing. I'm like, cool, I could, but I won't.
Yeah. I mean, I did. The only time I've kind of done something similar to that is I don't know, Minecraft, but that's the aim of the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
And probably Smash Bros. Brawl back in the day. I know like they made like massive improvements to the stage editor and what was it, Wii U and even the Switch one. But like I don't know, Brawl's one was the one that got me into it, and I just haven't looked back since. Like I just for some reason I love Brawl's one more. But I just created some mad shit on Brawl. So
maybe because it
probably
was the
stuff is
first one.
yeah. Yeah, again, it is that, like, but, uh, yeah, I feel like both of us are quite biased here in the fact that would either of us put this in the top 5? I personally wouldn't.
I would never put it there anyway because I'm really bad at those games. Like
Yeah.
games that require lots of button combinations and like remembering certain combinations of buttons. I just am bad at them. That's why I'm not great at fighting games. I'm not great at Tony Hawk's. Like it's just for whatever reason my brain knows what to do, but my hands just don't react properly.
Mhm. No, I can get that. It's like one of those, like, combo games, isn't it? Yeah, quick time reaction-y kinda
Yeah,
not quick
like
time
so even
reaction,
if
but
I owned the game and had nostalgia for it, I still wouldn't put it that high.
yeah, it's again bias here for me, but I don't know. I don't feel that there's probably some nostalgia factor that comes into it. Again, this had a user score of 7.5 as well, so like clearly it's the critics that have boosted this up quite a bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I mean, That's how you get critically acclaimed. You know, like it's not because of users. no
Yeah,
one
it's true.
no one really looks at user score.
No, it's very true because there's so many people on the internet at this point. You're like, do I really trust people on the internet? Sometimes it is, sometimes you do, and I don't know.
That's a different
Anyway,
issue, and
that is a completely
let's
different
not
issue.
dwell on that before we get
Yeah.
ourselves
So
flamed or
again,
cancelled.
so back like the only thing that we've approved on this list so far is GTA 5. 5? 4?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, 4. So that's okay. But here's the next one though.
Okay, the ultimate, the number one, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I'm not surprised it's here.
I'm not surprised either. That was absolutely massive. A critic score of 99 out of 100, a user score of 9.2 out of 10, covering
Jeez.
platforms on Nintendo 64, Nintendo DS, and Virtual Console. They must mean Nintendo 3DS because it definitely
Yeah,
wasn't on
probably.
DS. Yeah, and the Virtual Console on various platforms. But yeah, I can see why this is up here. Like, it was a very, very good game. Like one, I
Well,
think.
also, it's normally number one on a lot of people's list. Like, it's
Mhm.
normally one of their top games. There's only a few other games I think that would have taken this spot because they fill people's top slot like that a lot.
Mhm.
Like, the
Yeah.
only other thing right now, at least, that comes to mind is like, if it said Final Fantasy VII, I wouldn't have been surprised either.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. It's like around that same sort of time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see though. It's like it's iconic as well. Ocarina of Time is absolutely iconic for what it
Yeah,
is.
like it's understandable why it's there. Personally, I'm not a big Ocarina fan, so
Okay.
maybe I wouldn't have put it there. But I can wholly, again, just because I wouldn't put it there personally doesn't mean I don't agree it should be there. So like, I completely agree. Yeah, number one. With the amount
Yes.
that people fucking talk about this fucking game and have the nostalgia for it, if it wasn't number one, then what is wrong with the world, I guess.
Yeah, that's the one thing in it. I agree with you there. I do agree that this actually probably deserves a top spot. Like, probably my favorite Legend of Zelda game as well. I'd say. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, I like. Granted, I haven't actually completed Breath of the Wild yet. I do absolutely love Breath of the Wild though.
See, because Breath of the Wild would have been my favorite because
Yeah,
I played Ocarina of Time. I still have my original N64 cartridge, but I was such a young kid, I didn't really understand the game.
yeah, I probably would have had that problem as well. with that.
I've only played a few other Zeldas, so like I'm probably not the best person to talk about this
Mhm.
because really the only other one I've completed is like Breath of the Wild. I very rarely finish Zelda games because sometimes they just become a slog and I can't be asked.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild was number 9 on this top 50 list as well.
Oh, that's so low down.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised by that. I thought that would be a bit higher, you know.
Yeah, because Breath of the Wild I feel like is almost as big in terms of people talking about as Ocarina of Time.
100%. Like when it came out on Switch, that was like the big thing. Like it was the day one launch as well for the Switch. Like again, showed off the Switch's capabilities in
Yeah.
terms of like so you play it on TV, you play it handheld. It still looked good handheld. That's the thing with it. It did. Me personally,
Well,
I
I
thought
mean,
it looked
like,
good handheld.
here's how you know at least Breath of the Wild was big is that now we're seeing the games that are following its success.
Yeah.
Sonic
Oh my
Frontiers,
god.
Kirby and the
Yes.
Forgotten Lands. Like, there's plenty of these games that normally wouldn't bother doing an open world until Breath of the Wild came out and showed developers and studios that people like this stuff, and if you can do it right, you're gonna make money.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's like you said, like the successors to these sort of things from other places, like Arceus as well. That
Exactly.
it's literally the thing is that makes me laugh as well is that Breath of the Wild has this cover art, right? And it's Link
Yeah.
standing over this like sort of field, and he's looking at mountains and distance and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's so many games that have this thing now, where
Yep.
it's just someone standing on a cliff edge looking over,
Well,
and
I
it's
mean,
just
that's what
like,
Frontiers like trailer
yeah,
was, isn't it? It was
yeah,
Sonic ran through a forest and then he stopped on a cliff edge and
yeah,
looked out into this open field and there was a big old mountain in there. That's
yeah.
what Arceus did.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm literally looking at my box of Legends Arceus right now, and it is the exact, pretty much duplicate artwork of Legend of Zelda. It's mad how close is it. Obviously, depending on what region you're in, you'll probably know what I'm talking about in terms of box art for Breath of the Wild, because I think America and Europe got different ones.
Interesting. Okay. But
But
also,
yeah.
we forgot to make a main point about why at least what I think Breath of the Wild should have been number one
Hmm.
is not many Zelda games actually get a sequel, like a proper sequel.
Very true.
And
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild has got a second version coming out. So Breath of the Wild 2 is being developed. We also had an entire spin-off game dedicated to it being a prequel for Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
in Age of Calamity, right? Like that game in itself did so well. They've made more effort to expand the universe of this one part of the franchise.
Yeah.
Ocarina didn't really have that.
No, I think the closest thing we got to Ocarina sequel was obviously Majora's Mask. But the whole
Yeah.
thing about the Legend of Zelda universe as well is that there's like so many different branches in which it goes down. So certain, like, technically there is like a timeline of where games sit in Legend of Zelda universe. But it's like it all depends on like how Ocarina of Time, like whether like Ganon won or something, and like, or this happened, this
But it's
happened.
also like, if you really think about it, they only did that because people wanted them to do that.
Yeah.
The games were never meant to really link up like that.
Yeah, it's like it probably is like an afterthought. Like no one started Legend of Zelda franchise and was like, yeah, by the way, we have like about 20 other games planned on this timeline, and this is that we're starting with this one. It's just called Legend of Zelda, right? But like this is just the start of it. There's like more. There's more to this world, like more than just some guy walking through fields like slaying shit.
Yeah, and we're gonna be putting these games afterwards over decades. They're gonna be all over the timeline, and at some point it splits into 3. So we've got to make even more. Like, no, that doesn't.
I like to think that in the 80s, right? You had is it Al Numa, the creator of the
Aonuma and Miyamoto just like, yeah.
Okay, in like 20, 30 years time, we're gonna create this game called Breath of the Wild, right? It doesn't sit right now for these consoles, but when we have the Switch, like 30 years down the line, this console is gonna be called the Switch, right? And it's gonna Breath of the Wild will be perfect for it. You know what I mean? It's gonna have like wide open things. Right now, we've got to start off small. We're gonna go bird's eye view. We're gonna go like 3 hearts minimum, and then you fucking die. I like to think that they're so far placed in advance with their story, with their gameplay tactics. In the 80s, Aldo and Miyamoto just like, yes, we're gonna play the long game here.
So what we're saying is, in the Cultured Boys headcanon, they're time travelers.
Oh my god! But yeah, do I agree? Yeah, but do we agree that Ocarina of Time is up there? I do. I believe it's. I believe.
I agree that it should. Okay, maybe not should be there. That's poor wording on my choice. Like, I agree it's there.
It
Right.
deserves. Do you think you agree that it deserves to be there? I think that's.
Personally, I don't. But
Okay.
like, in my own proper opinion, no, because again, I'm biased. I didn't enjoy Ocarina of Time much because I was a kid at the time. But I do agree it should be there.
Yeah, that's fair then. Yeah, I imagine you'd put. Oh, no questions asked. Then Breath of the Wild would be there for you then.
If I had to put a Zelda, yes, because
Yeah.
like that's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I can. If Breath of the Wild was there as well, I think I'd be like, yeah, that's understandable. I wouldn't really be surprised, but I wouldn't have a Soul Calibur reaction. Let's put it that way.
I think to us, at least, that was probably the most egregious one. If we like, and I don't want to say it like that, but like,
No.
you know what I mean? Like, that one was just out of nowhere. No one would expect that.
No one would have like guessed that Soul Calibur's gonna be up there. But okay, cool. As a list as a whole, then, like, we agree with 2 out of the 5. Would you reorder any, like, with just this 5? Like, would you reorder them at all? Like, if you couldn't change
Oh,
them?
definitely. If
Yeah.
I had to change it, I definitely would have. If I rearranged it though, I would put GTA 4 at number 1,
Yeah.
Mario Galaxy number 2,
Mm-hmm.
Ocarina at 3, Tony Hawk's at 4, and Soul
Mm-hmm.
Calibur at 5.
You really put Fault Soul Calibur 5. Like, if it was my list personally, I think I would have kept Ocarina of Time number 1, GTA 4 number 2, Mario Galaxy number 3, Soul Calibur number 4, and Tony Hawk's number 5. But again, personal opinion on that.
Yeah,
Like, I
interesting
do,
that
yeah.
even in that rearrangement we went differently.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I feel they deserve to be there. Certain ones deserve to be there. Don't go forwards, but like just a little thing before you finish off, Nathan. Is there anything on that list that you feel should be a lot higher or has like been done dirty?
Okay,
Like just
real quick,
yeah,
near the bottom, Portal 2 at 45, don't agree, needs to be higher.
bloody
Persona
hell,
5
yeah.
Royal at 44, don't agree with that. Let's see, anything more? There's quite a lot on this. Halo 2 at 39, bit low down.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption, the first one at 37, too low down for my liking.
Interesting that San Andreas, what we mentioned earlier, is number 33 on this.
I was gonna say, like, I just got to Vice City at 34,
Yeah.
bit low down. San Andreas at 33, also quite low
looking at
down.
Funny enough, looking at the critic score for San Andreas is 95, and then the user score is 9. So obviously it's been very like obviously they're going by critic score in general on these lists.
Yeah.
But like even then, that's like
But
wow.
like, here's another interesting one. Skyrim at 27. I wouldn't think Skyrim is that far down.
Yeah. I think it would have been put a bit higher considering what it is.
Yeah, I would put it way higher. I really like Skyrim. Batman Arkham City is at 23. That's quite low down. That was a really good game.
Yeah, that was to be fair, Last of Us at number 42 is quite low as
Yeah,
well.
I didn't mention that because I haven't actually played that, but I do agree that that's a bit low.
Yeah, I haven't played it either, but like the amount of people raved about it when it came out, like
Okay, see,
there's
on the
people still rave
same
about it.
the same sort of line then, right? I wasn't going to mention it, but Resident Evil 4 at number 21, considering how much people talk about 4 all the time and they rave about 4, can you believe 21? That's a bit low, isn't it? Or here's like the most, especially at the way people talk about it. Goldeneye 007 at 19.
Yeah, that like okay, if that was in the top 5, I wouldn't bat an eyelid towards that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, again with a critic score of 96 and a user score of 9.1, that's nothing to be sniffed at either. That's like a very good score.
Yeah, like a lot of these have really good scores. It's just the placement is a bit different than I would have put it. Like Breath of the Wild is number 9, so it's in the top 10, and GTA 5 is number 8.
Yeah.
Like Red Dead Redemption 2 at 7. Some of these I would just reorder them. You know, like they'd still probably
100%, that's it.
a lot of them would probably still be, at least in the top 10. A lot of them would still be there. It's just maybe in a different
number
place.
6 is Super Mario Galaxy 2. Considering number 5 is Super Mario Galaxy, feels like, eh?
Well, surprisingly, even though I never played 2, people do say that 2 is a much better Galaxy game.
I heard like I remember when they released the 3D collection, 3D All Stars. Like people were pretty pissed that number 2 wasn't on there.
I was kind of pissed because that would have been like my first chance to play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm quite surprised that 2 didn't beat out 1, because anytime people talk to me about Super Mario Galaxy 2, they normally say it's better than the first one.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you though. Some of these just need rearranging, like completely.
Yeah, like a lot of the ones we mentioned previously are just a bit too far down for my liking.
Defo, I agree. But so was Final Fantasy VII even on this list?
I don't believe it was.
See, that is a big one. I'm really surprised that's not on there. Considering I think 10 is 10 or like is it 9?
10 is like near the bottom, I believe.
Yeah, that's
10. No, it's 9 even. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 9 is 49.
Interesting. Okay. But yeah, that's one of the biggest surprises for me, the fact that that's so low down. But again, this is critic scores mixed with Metacritic scores, so take that as you will. But yeah, that's our opinions on that, little Business Insider top 50 list. Anything you got to say, Nate?
I will say, if you're interested to know what we would put in a top 5, go and check out the absolute earliest series of videos we did. It's actually the first set of videos we ever done on this channel.
The Cultured Boys OG.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think it's a bit painful to go back that far, but please go and check it out if you want to know what we think.
Exactly that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure out of all the games we've put on that list as well, I don't think any of those turned up in the top 50.
No. Shows what
but
we
that's
know.
even more of a point of view. Go check them out.
And with that, guys, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, leave us a comment on your top 5 games. Hit that bell button so you get notified when our videos come out. And check us out on podcast platforms. We have the links in the description below. Anything else, Pepe?
Nope, that's all good for me. Catch you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.